All right, we're live. All right, guys, welcome to our Mass Effect discussion stream. Looks like we have was a private chat here. I muted my. Okay, see, yeah, thanks, buddy. But yeah, today we are discussing the first game. Personal experiences, mods, story, characters. First of all, how does everybody feel about the first game?
There's the good shit.
All right, that's good enough from Anihilus. Uh, Solur, what were your thoughts?
Peak.
All right, Peak. CT, thoughts on the first Mass Effect game?
Interesting.
I would like to add on to my own thoughts real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Though I did kind of get a little bit, tired from playing about. Maybe if I'll do a replay of Mass Effect 1 here again with a female Shepard, it'll be a bit.
I'm wondering if the thing that made you tired was the Mako rides.
Yeah.
To be fair, it is a big RPG.
Yeah, it's the other two. You'll find out when you get more into this Solur. The other two are less RPG like and more third person shooters with RPG elements.
Yeah, I was kind of getting tired of like the Mako rides or the repetitive.
Yeah, the Mako
retrieve the missing probes, I guess.
The Mako ride. So let's go on with the first subject we have planned for the stream, which is the story. All right. So thoughts on the story beyond just like base words. Anihilus, you go first.
Great world building as always from BioWare. The Codex really pulls you into the world, and the best part is you don't have to read any Codex entry, but it's there if you really want to do a deep dive into the lore. And the best part isn't like a certain other franchise I could name, cough cough Destiny. It's in the game and not in some obscure wiki.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah. No. When it comes to the Codex in particular, there's enough lore in the Codex. Now, I do encourage people to check out like a lot of the other stuff, like the books and the comics. But there's enough lore in the Codex alone to satisfy anybody who's like a junkie for this type of sci-fi universe. So, Solur, what were your thoughts on the story?
So they mirror Anihilus' opinions. So I may say, yes, the world building was. I also really liked exploring and seeing all these different biomes and how each character interacts with it. And well, and after reading Revelations, I really liked there's Saren, and when Anderson was talking about the incident on
The incident on
Malk.
Kamala.
Yeah, I was expecting to see Kaylee in the game, but turns out she shows MA3.
Yeah, we in the games you really don't see Kaylee Sanders until 3. A fun fact for anybody who's done the audiobook like I have, they call her Kali Sanders in it, not Kaylee Sanders. But anyway,
It's
so
pronounced
CT,
Kaylee in the game, so it's Kaylee.
so CT, what are your thoughts on the story of the game?
Good enough.
I'm gonna add
More
on
than
to my
just
own thought.
yeah,
I'm gonna add on
more
to
than
my
just
own
a
thoughts here in
simple
a minute.
1 or 2 words, buddy, if you can.
I have to play it again at some point.
Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, you need to refresh. All right, but
I want to raise one final point about Saren before we move on. Saren is the best standalone villain in the trilogy.
Understandable.
I mean, I might debate you when it comes to you know who in the next game because I don't want to spoil his character. But
I
By the
mean,
way,
he's not a. If that's who I think you're talking about, I wouldn't call him a villain at that point.
I mean, like when you're introduced to him, which by the way, Solar, you have already been introduced to this character. You'll,
Elusive Man.
yeah, you'll know him. Yeah,
There
sorry.
are
So yeah,
some
so
who
you already know.
there are
But
some who call
I was
him
also reading the
Tim.
Mass
him,
Effect Revelations book.
yeah. CT, by the way, is reading Mass Effect Revelation, so he's getting into peak as we. But yeah, no. The one thing I do, at least as far as Saren's character goes, the book kind of adds a layer to his character because the book very clearly portrays him as a tyrant, whereas the game kind of portrays him as a tyrant. Like if you read Revelation and then play the game, um, it portrays him as a tyrant turned desperate attempted hero.
If I were to compare him to like any villain from any past Bioware game, he kind of reminds me of. Although he does kind of suffer from some of the same flaws as this other character, Darth Malak.
I would say through a majority of the game, he reminds you of Malik, but when you find out his real motivation uh, in the last act of the game, the point of no return,
Sure.
in very much the whole concept of Malik in that regard just kind of like poof disappears because now he's
I guess I'm
yeah.
also talking about like and this is kind of I guess a thing that I've noticed with most of the games until at least 3. You don't really get a big sense of like urgency in stopping him. And it's kind of the same with Malik in a way because both Saren and Malik have a scene near the beginning of the game. Then you don't see them for a large portion of it until the beginning of the third act, and then they are the villain of the third act.
Yeah,
And
well,
then between all that, you don't really see them at all. But I would say in this regard, Malik has one up on Saren because even though you don't see much of him until those points, you can still feel Malik's presence constantly throughout the game, even on Manon, and
yeah,
especially
that is kind of true.
when you run
But
into Lord Malik was most displeased when he learned you had escaped Terrace alive.
but yeah, like what keep in mind as far as in my opinion, which character has more depth. It's definitely Saren. But I will say this, bring this fact up, is that BioWare, Mass Effect, which again,
I mean, yeah,
same company.
there
Oh,
was
hey,
like
Aaron.
4 years between KOTOR 1 and Mass Effect, so they've had time to really flesh out make a better
Oh,
villain.
yeah. But the point I'm trying to get at is that Mass Effect pretty much owes its existence to Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, KOTOR walked, so Mass Effect could run.
Yeah. Basically, during when KOTOR was releasing, after they did the majority of the game, that's kind of when Mass Effect started its development in the planning stages because people like Casey Hudson were like, this is great. We made this game that's in a rich, space universe, but this is someone else's universe. So we were kind of limited by the rules and restrictions. Which again, rules and restrictions are good, but like basically, BioWare did like they did the what's the term I'm looking for? If you don't like the rules of a particular fantasy or sci-fi universe, make your own. And that's exactly what Casey Hudson did. Basically, because there's only a certain amount of things that they could do with Knights of the Old Republic, with and without like George Lucas's like express permission. They literally decided, okay, yeah, we made this space fantasy game. The space fantasy games, and so we let's make our own.
Somewhere out there, there's an alternate timeline where BioWare made the Episode 2 game instead of setting it 4,000 years in the past.
Yeah, both villains highlight Bioware's genius and deep redeemable antagonists and choice-driven space. Yeah, true. But
Do not try
yeah,
to fix Darren. What is wrong with you people?
yeah,
You
no,
disgust me.
the people in the Mass Effect fandom that are trying to fix Saren is ridiculous. But yeah, so like that's
Horny jail
the
to horny jail with a lot of you.
but the yeah, well the point I'm trying to get at is that like, and you'll notice this with both with Mass Effect and I even with Dragon Age as well as Coach, is that it has like a particular flow and direction that the story
Don't
goes.
forget poor forgotten Jade Empire.
Yeah, Jade Empire too. Again, like I only played a little Jade Empire. I got to get back into that at
It's
some
so
point.
good.
But one of the BioWare staples was like you had 3 to 4 planets you could go to, or or locations you could go to in a particular fantasy or RPG, and then you had this big twist, and like you got the big twist in KOTOR was you were the main Sith Lord the whole time. The big twist in Mass Effect is what I'll talk about later. But the point is that was kind of like a staple for BioWare, was that they had like the traditional RPG sense with the big twist, and then the urgency that comes with that big twist.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me. So we talked about the story. Let's get to the characters now. So first off, have any favorite characters, even if there's more than one, like any that just like stood out to you?
Yes, I have a few, and none of them are Shepard, because what a lot of people seem to forget at the end of the day is that Shepard is a blank slate that you play as. Their past and history is just a few lines of text, and you can play them however you want. And yes, they are fully voiced, but they are still just a vessel for the player rather than
I
a.
I would agree to a degree. I don't think there is much of a blank slate to say like Master Chief from Halo, but they're
Master Chief
definitely
does get a full backstory in the books. Shepard's barely mentioned in the books at all, which I get it. The idea is we are Commander Shepard. Our choices matter, and to not and to like solidify anything Shepard did in the games, as the players have made those decisions, will be to take away from that.
yeah. And again, that's
But
one of the reasons that's
Mass Effect should also be able to exist without Shepard.
yeah. I agree there. But basically, in regards to excuse me, in regards to the way Drew Karpyshyn in particular wrote his Mass Effect novels, um, and you probably saw this, Solur, when you read Ascension. Um, they mention the key events from the end of the first Mass Effect, but they keep it vague enough so it's still your imagined playthrough without stepping on anybody's specific playthrough. It's a weird way to work your canon, but it works.
Even in the
Which is
comics,
better than
it's like
how
that.
Deus Ex did it with Invisible War. Don't at
Yeah,
me.
say again, Solar.
That the comics do that too.
Yeah, it's the comics and novels. They're very careful not to step on the toes of the players, as to like avoid like they kind of keep an ambiguity to it, where it's like, oh, you can still imagine this stuff, like these adventures happening in your universe, your portion of the Mass Effect galaxy. It's almost multiversal in a way, but at the same time, there are a few constants like the Battle of the Citadel, Saren's betrayal at Eden. Like they're straight up constants that are unchangeable, but obviously the minor events are interchangeable. But yeah, so any particular favorite characters, basically.
As for me, because I read Revelations, sorry, I really like that Anderson, and
Yeah.
Anderson's pretty
Garrus
cool.
was my favorite squad member.
We got someone who's growing on the our CSEC visor brother. Excellent.
I like all of them. I like all of them. My least favorite one is Liara. Just because I am not a fucking petri dish sample you can put under a microscope to Sony.
Yeah,
My top three are Ashley, Tally, and Rex.
that's not a bad top three if I'm being honest. But what about yeah? So Solar, yours are
Caden is Karth, but less interesting.
yeah. Anybody else like? Guess you popped up in the comments, and I think I can show them on screen. Hang on.
Hang on. Last. Nunny. Okay.
Heresy.
Okay. No, I'm sorry, but she treats you like an amoeba sample she can put under her microscope.
He's
That
kidding,
always rubs me the wrong way. I know.
but
And I
yeah,
have a beef. I have a beef. I don't have a beef with Liara specifically. I just have a beef with the entire Sorry government.
yeah. Solar, you'll
I
see
will
that
talk about
you'll
that
see
till
later
3.
on in the trilogy just how ill prepared the Asari kind of are,
Like,
and yeah.
it kind of reminds me of how the Vulcans acted towards humans during the run of Star Trek Enterprise.
Oof. Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah.
short version of that is, oh, you're not ready for all this stuff, and we're like, well, you keep holding us back, so how can we know whether or not we're ready? Oh, well, you aren't because we say so. Okay, thanks, bye.
All right, CT. Did you have any favorite characters?
In the Mass Effect trilogy,
Yeah,
Just the first
at
game.
least as far as Mass Effect 1.
I'm trying to, maybe Joker and maybe Garrus.
I just
Okay.
had a thought. I just had a funny thought.
Okay.
Joker and HK-47 would get along like a house on fire.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Probably. Yeah, so yeah, my as far as squad mates go, like favorite characters, it had for me actually even not even just like squad mates, but favorite side characters that come up along the way as well. Obviously Garrison Rex. I also like Tally. Liara to an extent. I liked Caden and Ashley the least because I don't know what it was in particular with the BioWare squad mates, but to me, BioWare seemed to make them the least interesting as far as I'm concerned, as far as characters go.
Because they're human.
Well, here's the thing. BioWare can write good human characters because one of my favorite like non-playable characters, non-squad mate characters is the same as Solur, which is Anderson. And mind you, I liked Anderson before I even read the Revelation novel. I thought he was a very good kind of background character, like your mentor
Helps
that
that
builds
he's
you up.
It
And of
helps that he's
course,
voiced by Keith David.
yeah, that does help too. And of course, I also really enjoyed the goat of the first game, in my opinion, which is Mr. Conrad Werner.
Oh my god. Observation. Commander, it is a poor decision to leave the Normandy in the hands of the chair-bidden meatbag.
but yeah, the Bioware, at least when it came to the first Mass Effect, they had like these really interesting background characters. And you even see them on other planets too, like Gianna Parasini on Noveria. It's a good example.
You have the right to remain silent. I wish to God you'd exercise it.
Yeah. Then there was like Shiala on Pharos, as well as Fidan. And of course, David Altacani, who literally, like, you spend 5 seconds with him and then he gets blown to bits by Geth.
Dead. I just like how they gave him a name and everything. Like, oh, this guy's gonna be important. Dead.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Also, BioWare giving credit to BioWare where it's due. Alanis Halliot is now a Turian, like he was always meant to be.
Sorry, I was just laughing at something on Twitter.
Hello.
Nice. Anyway, so yeah, so we've got characters. All right, thoughts on the gameplay?
Legendary
Like,
Edition is the Legendary Edition is the only way to play the game now, and if anyone says otherwise and actually prefers the original, I mean, okay, but also, you got a screw loose there, boy.
Yeah, that
Boy.
I kind of prefer the RPG, I kind of prefer the third-person shooter elements,
Yeah, no,
in the original game, headshots don't matter.
Yeah, no, like I'm fully with Anihilus here on this one. Because
like, I was most excited for Legendary Edition because I was curious to see how they would adapt Mass Effect 1 to make it more like the other two. And now that I've seen what they did with it, I kind of wish it was like that from the outset back in 07.
Yeah, no, I preaching in that regard. But yeah, like anybody, because Anihilus and I have both played the original Mass Effect prior. Like the most you guys played was the Legendary Edition, which you lucked out because that was a good first time.
The original's biggest crime was that if you were not specialized in a certain weapon, you could not aim with that weapon. If you had no, like, if you didn't have sniper rifles as a skill, for example, you cannot aim down the scope.
Yeah.
That essentially made one of your 4 weapons, which you always have on you, completely useless. And God help you if you pick anything that isn't Soldier, Infiltrator, or Vanguard for your first time playthrough in the original release of Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
Because when you beat the game, depending on how you play it, you can get one of those as a bonus talent, and from there you can go back and choose one of the other classes, and it'll be a bit more tolerable because you won't be restricted to the fucking pistol.
Yeah, no, as much as I have fond memories with the original Mass Effect, it is very much a not necessarily story, but a gameplay product of its time.
It was BioWare's first attempt at making a game like that, so I
get
it. So it feels like LE1 was definitely made with the benefit of at that point it was what, 2021 minus 2007, it's like 11-ish years of 10 years of 11-ish years of hindsight.
Yeah, well, yeah, like, keep in mind when the first game released, because remember, BioWare was, if this is prior to them being bought up by EA, they were that very type of niche RPG company. So they made RPGs for their very niche fandom audience. So they were
snorts.
They were,
it's in the mucus.
Yeah, true. But they were making a game that was, they were trying to be new and revolutionary with like a third person shooter, but they were still trying to keep the D23 gameplay mechanic, because your shots always felt like a dice roll. the way they'd fire out, pretty much kind of like KOTOR, and the Legendary Edition was with the overhaul and everything, was the way of appealing to a more, I guess, mainstream audience.
I mean, even Legendary Edition's combat isn't where I would personally want it to be. But I mean, I get it because they're working with older code and stuff. But my main problem with it's like they fixed one problem and they didn't solve another, which probably can't be solved, and that's that all the weapons are basically hit scan,
Yeah,
and they're not hit scan in 2 or 3.
which pretty much makes sense. Yeah, but that's
Hit scan for the uninitiated means if you point your weapon at a target and you fire it, it's going to instantly hit that target, no questions asked, as opposed to
Oh,
having
yeah.
Also, fun fact is that
Flies through.
Anderson voices. I mean, it is voiced by Keith Davidson.
Yeah, we mentioned this already.
He was
CT a little.
also oh my god, what was the name of his character in Gargoyles?
Goliath. Goliath, yeah.
Thank you.
And he was also in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from 2009.
Ramirez!
Oh yeah, it's
Ramirez.
Ramirez.
Do everything.
And he voiced the Arbiter in the Halo series.
Yeah. So Keith David obviously has a clear line, but we're talking about the gameplay right now.
Do
CT.
everything. Sir, do I look like a Ramirez to you? What? No, of course.
But yeah, as far as the new gameplay goes, in my book, it is the definitive version of the gameplay because I feel like it's a way to get people into the universe easier, because that was always the stumbling block for a lot of people. None of them could, like, most of them would either just skip one, or they would have so much trouble with one that they just wouldn't proceed through the rest of the trilogy, and they would miss so much lore by doing so.
I guess that's why they made the Genesis comic, but even then they fucked up the Genesis comic by the fact that the Genesis comic leaves out Pharaohs.
Yeah. So fun fact, Solur. Fun fact, Solur. Back when Mass Effect came out, it was kind of an Xbox exclusive, like Xbox and PC exclusive type thing. So it wasn't available on the PlayStation 3. So the only games at the time you had that would release was on PS3 was like Mass Effect 2 and then later Mass Effect 3. And then when they did a trilogy pack after that, they released Mass Effect 1 in a trilogy pack for the PS3. But for the longest time, they literally created. It was in conjunction with Dark Horse, but they had created a digital playing comic where you could make key choices. But the problem is when you do the comic instead of playing the game, a lot of things from the game did not roll over. So
they left out Pharaohs. It's not like anything important happened there that would need context. Like, oh, I don't know, the Prothean cipher being downloaded.
Yeah, we'll get to that, Anihilus. But yeah, so like the Genesis comics, those are like DLCs for like 2 and 3. They were like a quick introduction for anybody who had never played the games.
Going through those comics, that is heresy. And
I still would recommend. Yeah, I still recommend watching someone do a walkthrough of the comics just to see like the choices you can make.
It's good artwork. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, the art. Well, some of the artwork is good. Some of it, like I think Rex looks kind of off in the comic panels. Someone mentioned that too. That Rex kind of looked off in the comic panel.
Rex kind of looked constipated in the comic.
Yeah. You'll see when you get around, because that's definitely going to be in my chronology series. But
the fish dog food shack.
Okay, so yeah, we all agree that the older games gameplay is bad, but the newer ones is better, which makes sense.
Also, the
So
Fish North Food Shack is the McDonald's of the city. I'll change my mind.
I'm not going to because that sounds about right. All right, so next topic, the music.
It's Jack Hall and Sam Hulick. How can you possibly go wrong?
I mean, yeah, like the way this game's soundtrack just like
They did release a few samples of different ideas they each had for the main theme. So the actual main theme we got was a sort of compromise between the two.
yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, like,
And
let's say you first open the loading screen, like,
Vigil.
yeah, the when you hear Vigil's theme at the loading screen, like, do you not think, wow, like this, like, I'm in for something here because it's very quiet, and the way the loading screen seems to give off almost like a quiet vibe as well. Uh, it's almost like you're in for an adventure, but you feel like it's going to be like a strangely soothing one.
And it's also worth noting, Legendary Edition has one new track by, I think it's Sam Hulick who did it. It's called Regenesis. That's the track
Yeah.
that plays on the Legendary Edition launcher.
Yeah.
Although, if I remember correctly, I think that itself isn't entirely new. It was essentially a reused track from a planned but ultimately unreleased DLC for Mass Effect 1. It was going to get a third DLC after Pinnacle Station and Bring Down the Sky that ultimately never came to fruition.
Yeah. The launcher you're talking about. I think that was going to be for Calliston, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, like just the music at times like can be so like well done, so rewarding. Uh, like for me, a lot of the thrills come with like I enjoy the soundtracks on the Citadel the most. But for me, like some of the best parts is during like some of the battles, and even Pharos had like kind of a great battle track when you got around to like the Thorian creepers.
Yeah. It's a crime to me that the album version doesn't have as much variations as the in-game versions. And like there are some tracks in the game that are just not present on the album. Like we don't have Peak 15's ambient track. We don't have Vermeer Assault on the album version, which is just heresy.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, like so Solur, were there any themes that kind of like stuck out to you?
There's two.
Mm-hmm.
The one that plays in the main menu.
Yeah, it's visual.
You know, yeah, I really like that one, and I appreciated it more when I spoke to the Prothean VI.
Yeah,
Out of Atmosphere.
Vigil.
yeah, because the atmosphere that character gives, it's very calming and soothing, but at the same time, like you get this
Sad.
underlying sense of like danger behind it. You know?
Always thought it was sad considering he like he was entrusted with an entire colony of Protheans, and he ended up killing all but a few of the scientists
Yeah,
by shutting down their life support. You're not just seeing another Prothean ruin, you're seeing a literal tomb of an entire colony.
yeah. It's haunting. It's a strange, beautiful but haunting type of music. But yeah, like for me, a lot of the standouts was a lot of like the action themes. Like I think one of my favorites, some of my favorites are like the Therum battle, the
Eden
Ilos
Prime had a
theme.
great battle track, and I'm a little sad it wasn't used more.
Which one?
The Eden Prime one. I mean, it makes a comeback in ME3, but I wish it was used a bit more in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, it's a very underrated track.
Like I know I'm sure a lot of people, I don't know if anyone here else aside from me and Nazo played KOTOR, but one of my favorite combat tracks in KOTOR was the one that came whenever you were fighting the Sith, and it's in fact the first combat track you hear in the entire game.
Yes,
That
Nathan.
one is
The Asari are just manipulating our minds.
that one is scattered throughout all of KOTOR. I was kind of hoping the Eden Prime battle track would be that, or that there would be like a specific battle track for when you're fighting the Geth, for example, and that never really happened either.
Yeah, but yeah, that's like there's some tracks that they obviously used, but others that they just kind of cut out
Yeah,
for time, probably most likely for time, because that's
some of
always
those got reused in ME3, I think.
yeah. But time typically was always the constraint. So like we got a deadline, we got to release the game at this time.
Yeah,
We'll have to save some of these. Like in the early days, BioWare really was like, we want to add this stuff to the game, but we don't have the time, so we'll add it later in DLCs. Because their DLCs were like very, very cheap. I remember
Bring Down
how
the
cheap their
Sky you could
DLCs
get for
were,
free.
especially Bring Down the Sky.
Bring Down the Sky you could get for free, and it was the only one worth getting for ME1. I said what I said.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like
I
it's
never played.
nice that they have a mod that brings Pinnacle Station back for the
I never
PC
played Pinnacle
version.
Station until I got that mod, and now that I've played Pinnacle Station, I'm glad it never got included officially. Fuck
Yeah, so
you.
for anybody who didn't
Your
know, the reason why it
your
wasn't
stupid last
included.
stand BS mission is holding out against the first Contactarians. That whole thing is BS. Why did you design it that way? Are you fucking masochist? What is wrong with you? Get help.
You can
Get
tell,
therapy.
like Pinnacle Station isn't my favorite, but you can tell that just by the way he's described. Anihilus does not like Pinnacle Station. Like
I would
there are
actually
times
bring
when
videos of
Pinnacle
that
Station
despite you.
absolutely frustrated me and pissed me off, but like Batarians look like ugly pizza. Yeah, that's true. I think they're
The
more
rewards you
because of
get
their
at the end of
multiple eyes.
Pinnacle
They're more supposed
Station
to
were
be
not
like
worth it.
spiders, just without the multiple legs.
I'm sorry, but the stuff you get at the end of Pinnacle Station was not worth going through Pinnacle Station for.
Yeah,
Not
I
worth
mean, you get an apartment on a red planet, but like,
not
so
worth it.
yeah, like I guess the only thing I would consider would be worth it would be like the experience points you get. I suddenly like Pinnacle Station,
You don't
but like the
really get XP, much XP for Pinnacle Station. I mean, I don't even think you can hit the level cap from 1 to 60 in ME1, or well, 1 to 30 if you're playing by the Legendary Edition scaling. But
I mean,
no,
I've come close, but yeah, there's
I
no
don't think it's
guarantee you can
possible to hit the
necessarily.
cap on New Game. I think you have to go to New Game Plus to hit the cap.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to go through all of LE1 just for that before bringing him over to ME2. I can.
Yeah. So next topic, Paragon versus Renegade. Talking
I
about
like
how
them
we.
both for different reasons.
Yeah, of course.
Paragon is your typical light side playthrough. Goody two shoes. And Renegade is interesting in that it's not like it's not an evil playthrough. It's just I am willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. You're less like.
Well, it's the two extremes. It's I'm a practical man, but I'm still good, or I get the job done. I'm kind of an a-hole. Those,
It reminds me less of like light side dark side from KOTOR and more Way of the Open Palm versus Way of the Closed Fist from Jade Empire.
yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, and it's part of the reasons why I absolutely enjoy Mass Effect's morality system, because even the good options are not necessarily good, and the evil options are not necessarily evil. It's
Right.
all about like
And that, I think,
perspective with Paragon and Renegade. Like
I think like
it depends. Yeah,
I think that's like the biggest trap of the conversation wheel too, because the top right is always Paragon, the bottom right is always Renegade, the middle is always just your neutral response, but you're actually screwing yourself over if you pick that one, which is probably why BioWare ended up axing it in ME3. But I don't know. I
can you at
always
least be
find
racist on
having
political station? Also, big stupid jellyfish suck. Paragon for life.
big
Jeez.
stupid jellyfish, but big stupid. Someone did a Sparta remix of Big Stupid Jellyfish, and the video ends with Thane shooting Shepard because he
Wow.
insulted a hammer.
Big stupid jellyfish does
What a
kind of make sense
remix.
though. Yeah, I think
Well, there is
that
one
is
thing
actually a
about
renegade option I choose anytime I play ME1 now because it's a
there is
big
one thing
stupid
about
jellyfish.
there is one thing about Thane that doesn't really make sense to me, but we're not in ME2 territory, so I won't talk about it much.
But yeah, like my latest playthrough was primarily Paragon. Annihilus's was
The latest update
primarily
to the latest update to the diversification mod does add a few Drell in the Citadel, so
Volus or short stacks. Yeah, true. Yeah, but Anihilus is actually, and he did this partially with my goading. He made a Tony Soprano Shepherd, where he's
and
like,
whenever we played it, he took what Shepard said and put it through what I am patenting the Tony Soprano filter.
That's something I'm gonna have to see.
Council can kiss my ass.
what did you say, Solur?
That's something I should see.
The
Yeah,
Sopranos.
it's it. Well, the series of Sopranos, yeah, you definitely should see it. But yeah, basically, anytime he made like a dialogue option, I would try to find a way to make it sound like Tony. Just like it's like, where do you go? What if you go? Like that sort of. But yeah, like so
Renegade
yeah,
Karen.
Paragon Renegade, Paragon Renegade. Like typically, I'm more of a Paragon player myself. Like I'll choose a few Renegades, hijack, byjack. Yes.
Speaking of
Renegade
Paragon
Same
gets
Lost,
here.
are
you
we going to be
in.
doing
Oh,
a rewatch of it for
okay.
this at some point?
That is true. Renegade does get you in bed with the consort. And Anihilus found that out when he was doing his Tony Soprano
No,
Shepherd playthrough.
I already knew about that. I just picked it because I figured it would be absolutely be something Tony Soprano would do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, are we going to be rewatching Paragon Lost for this? Because I just found my DVD copy.
Sure. We'll probably like I already watched it, but if you want to rewatch it, just for solidarity's sake, we can. Not worth the effort.
I kind of want to remind myself of what happens in it anyway. But like I
Yeah,
said, we
yeah.
can wait until we beat ME2. Never
Well,
playing ME2
my
and then Sanity
where I
begins.
have it in where I have it in the timeline of my chronology, I think it was Net who discovered that by accident. Yeah, but in my thing for the Mass Effect chronology, I actually have Paragon Lost taking place before you do ME2. But
I thought it
if you're
was
like
slightly during.
if you're like a first time player, I wouldn't recommend it. That's probably what I'm going to say when I do the episode. That I wouldn't recommend doing it for like watching it first time until
Because
after you play
spoilers.
ME2.
Because certain
But
things get spoiled.
yeah, and Solar found that out.
Also, the animation error. Like, come on, the Citadel's not behind a planet, you assholes.
All
And
right, so
what's Sovereign doing all intact anyway? Sorry.
let's get to some of the aspects of the game itself. All right, so Cerberus and the other side missions, just like
I mean, I do all of them out of habit at this point, and the diversification mod really brings some extra flavor to them to make them seem less samey.
yeah,
But without the diversification mod to essentially fix the side missions, I would only do what I would consider to be the essential ones, which would be the entirety of Kahoku's quest line, the Helena Blake one, the Nasana Dantius one,
Well, technically, the Kahoku storyline starts in an unexpected place. It starts as far back as Dr. Michelle.
right, but I'm saying I would do that one. I would do that. I would
Yeah,
do maybe Elenos the Halliot one if you're like a war hero shepherd.
yeah.
Um, the matriarch writings. I guess all the fetch quests one.
Well, you have to do most of the fetch quest ones.
Yeah,
That's non-negotiable. But and the tally one, like the Geth incursions,
you can
you
take. I can
can.
take or leave that one. I can take or leave that one
Yeah,
personally.
yeah.
Although
One thing,
here's
so
what I did
it's the
with
same
that
with
one.
it's the same with Garrus's Dr. Salion mission. Sadly,
Really?
it is as far as loyalty missions go, it doesn't have very many stakes when you
Well,
go further into
Dr.
the trilogy.
Stalion's mission is at least short. The Armstrong Nebula just goes on and on and on,
Yeah,
and like it got to the point where like, okay, I'll do two of the two of the strongholds in the Armstrong Nebula, go do something else, then come back. So I don't feel like I'm driving myself insane fighting Geth all the time.
but yeah. So Rex's
And I do
family
like,
armor though, that is an absolute like
yeah,
need to do.
like if you want to save Rex, you do need to do it because if you don't do it, it's much harder to. Whereas if you do the mission, you're pretty much guaranteed you pretty much guarantee that Rex will live unless you deliberately pick the options that will kill him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one key detail for Vermeer Solar. You did Rex's side mission, correct?
Yeah, at first I didn't, and then I got Rex killed and said, "Fuck this," and so I just reloaded his save and started grinding until I did his side quest.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
It makes sense.
my favorite side mission is the it's one of the freighter ones where it's all abandoned and the only thing that's happening is that random explosives are going off when you walk by them.
Is
And
that
there's like
is that the Julia one?
yes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And the diversification mod gives you a bit of a puzzle to solve, and you have a reason to actually go back into the room and into the cargo area and brave the traps.
For me, I think as far as like side missions go, I think my
I actually
favorite
like the
is
mission
either
coordinating one.
like I think my favorite is either Alanos Halliet or I think um obviously the Cerberus one, but I also like strangely enough I also like the Corporal Tombs one and the
Oh, that one too, yeah.
yeah, and then the biotics that kidnapped Chairman Burns.
Oh yeah, the one where you're given like what 2 minutes.
Yeah, you get to
That's
get there
one.
before they kill him, and that's
Yeah.
again what I really like about though, even though it's mostly inconsequential to the main plot, is that it's basically shows you what a lot of the early L2 biotics went through.
I'd like it a lot more if the biotic powers didn't just if they couldn't just like stun lock you with throw all the time.
True, that was
Annoying.
one frustrating bit about the mission, and of course,
That was
yeah,
cancer.
and of
Well,
course,
funny thing about that is if you get exposed to Ezo, either you get biotic powers or you get cancer.
yeah, that was typically the result for anybody who's followed Caden's backstory. So we all have kind of like side missions. Thoughts on the Eden Prime mission, like that portion of the story?
Good setup. Classic classic scenario. Colony is under attack and we are the only ship in range.
True.
Very much a Star Trek kind of opening where the only ship in range of anything is seems to be the Enterprise or Voyager.
Well, that's typically how it starts because it's supposed to be the main ship that's always within the vicinity.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would have. like I one thing I really wanted to see in I guess we can talk about it later when we get to ME3, but I guess I would have loved to see at least one other Normandy class frigate in ME1. Like, yeah, Normandy's the first, the prototype, but then by the end of the game, let's say by the end for the Battle of the Citadel, one of the ships that shows up in the Alliance reinforcement fleet is a second Normandy class frigate.
Mm. I think they
And
had something similar. I
it would
forgot
be
what
a
it was called.
consequence. It would be a consequence based entirely on your conversation with Rear Admiral
Mikhailovic?
Mikhailovic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rear Admiral Mikhailovic.
Yeah. Like, if he was impressed enough, as a result of that, he would have given a good review, and that would have allowed Hackett to push for the construction of another Normandy class frigate. And as the game moves on and the threat from Saren becomes more urgent, Hackett mentions we are accelerating the development of this Normandy class frigate to respond to the threat. And then you
Right.
see it pay off by a second Normandy class frigate showing up at the Battle of the Citadel.
Mhm.
Maybe call it the let's see. Frigates are named after battles in history, right? Like
Right.
the SSV Gettysburg, I don't know.
That would be an interesting title,
There's
definitely.
Or the
there's already a Gettysburg, right?
Yeah, but we're talking about like this, not the ground ships, but like the spaceships being named after. Like
Uh-oh. I mistook it. In Halo, there's a ship called the Gettysburg.
oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's different sci-fi, different genre. But
Halo's naming conventions for its ships were just kind of weird. Forward onto
they
Dawn,
kind of the Halo ships almost sounded poetic with theirs.
Pillar of Autumn, Spirit of Fire, Forward unto Dawn, in Amberclad. The only one that was really conventional was the Infinity.
Mm. But yeah, as far as at least with the Systems Alliance names for the vessels, it was always some great historic battle.
Just well for the frigates. Cruisers and dreadnoughts had their own naming convention, which I don't recall off the top of my
After
head.
cities and mountains, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, yeah, like after
I think
because like
Hackett's flagship was the
yeah,
Kilimanjaro.
yeah, because Adam's former ship, he says like, his last assignment was on the Tokyo, so excuse me. But
And Anderson served on the Hastings before the Normandy, I believe.
but yeah, just in general, like thoughts on Eden Prime mission.
Good.
Yeah,
It was a pretty
definitely like the atmosphere. But yeah, go ahead, Solar.
it was a pretty neat intro to the game.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the Citadel and its whole obvious atmosphere, beauty, seedy wards, that sort of thing.
Giant space flower.
Yeah, well, I think you told your friend that you said it was a giant space starfish or something like that.
No. Giant space banana if you peel the banana right.
That's true. Yeah. It's more like just a floating banana peel, but yeah, that's
I'm eating the Presidium.
the Citadel has many. But yeah, I think it was either a banana, a starfish, or a flower. But yeah, that's basically the general shape of the Citadel. But yeah, I always find it interesting that it kind of shows the duality of how things really are. Like you have the upper ring, the Presidium, which is all like beautiful and only like the top people can go there, like the political ambassadors. while everybody else pretty much lives at like these gigantic,
I figured it out.
sprawling.
I figured it out. Everybody compares the Citadel to DC. Hear me out. The Citadel is New York. The wards are the various districts of New York, and the Presidium is Ellis Island.
I suppose that's a pretty good example, but as Ellis Island, where like the super rich and fanciful go.
Well, it's where the Statue of Liberty is, and I think Ellis Island is considered to be a separate entity from the state of New York.
I know, but we're talking about like the example it's showing is like the super rich are in that top ring area, while everybody else is. It's like a strangely large divide between rich and poor when it comes to Mass Effect's look of like the Presidium being like the Presidium being the minority, yet they hold all the money and
Actually,
power.
since they're so close to each other anyway, we can say the Presidium is DC and the wards are just New York.
The wards would be more than New York. I think they're like twice the size of like any Earth city. So
So
it
maybe
would
New
be
York
it would
and
be
New
like New
Jersey?
York with Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, Seattle.
Ew.
Ba-
Why would you put
yeah,
Detroit
basically any large city you can think of is very much the Citadel Arms.
Yeah.
Like in any large basic dumpster fire of a city. Uh,
I sure hope they all have clean water.
well, if you remember, it's not mentioned until ME2, but there's the janitor mentioned how like uh, they have like a filtration system for the water because they don't want people getting sick from like drinking the same water that a Turian used or something.
So the water I'm drinking is the same one I piss in.
Pretty much, yeah. It has to be filtered and purified.
Son of a-
Otherwise, yeah. It does make you wonder how many gallons of water get shipped to the Citadel daily, just to ensure that it never runs short of like sustenance in that regard.
It makes me think maybe there's maybe it's like how the asteroid belt works in the Expanse, where you have maybe the Serpent Nebula is just full of asteroids, and we have workers out there living on cities like Ceres in the Expanse, where we have people just cutting out and making ice halls between.
Well,
the
if
nebulas.
from what I remember, the Citadel is literally like one system from the human colony of Beckenstein, or is it's that's a
It's
human
in the
colony?
same.
Or is it just a
It's in the
colony in
same
general?
cluster. It's in the same cluster, but it is one FDL jump away.
Yeah, but yeah, it's basically one FTL jump away from. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're getting the water from Beckenstein in order to keep the Citadel sort of refueled.
Well, if Beckenstein's a major trade hub for the Citadel, it's no wonder they let Donovan Hawk do his shit while they look the other way.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right,
There'll
so
always be a market for the things we do.
so yeah,
Maybe that
any other things to say about the Citadel?
is big. I got lost the
Is
first time I played.
Yeah, like some people who play it, like they always get lost. Even like I've played it like a couple, practically like 100 times now, and I never get lost. I've mapped it out, so I know exactly where everything is.
Doesn't
And
help that the in-game maps
yeah,
suck.
fun fact. It used to be that you had to get 21 keepers, but they actually took out one keeper that you had to find. Like the keeper's still there, but you only have to collect data from 20 keepers because they know people always struggled with finding all of the keepers. Like that was.
And you can still technically select that keeper. It's just whichever when you hit your 20th, that's it.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like they knew it was that much of a problem, that much of an issue with it, and so they just like, okay,
I
so
think I
let's just
know
make
which
this
one it
easy.
was too. I think I know which one it was too. It's probably the one in the docking bay, because until you get to the point where Anderson gives you the Normandy, you have no reason to go there. And
Yeah,
you'd be trying to get all the Citadel side quests done first before you proceed with the main quest line, so you wouldn't have any reason at all to go to the docking bay unless you knew the keeper was already there.
yeah. Like again, because I've played it like a couple times now, so I already know that I'm like, oh yeah, I can just pick up the last keeper before I leave.
Come on, Joy, where are you? I'm getting sad. I was looking forward to talking with you.
Yeah, same. I'm genuinely shocked she's still not here. But we'll move on to the next planet. So, Therum.
It was going to be Calliston until it got cut for time.
So it was yeah. No. So hang on, I'm gonna ask Joy where she is. She's probably still doing her hair. But so yeah, it was originally going to be Calliston, but most likely another cut for time situation. But in regards to like just sort of that, what were your thoughts on like just that whole mission?
I mean, kind of forgettable.
Well, fun fact: you remember when I did my playthrough, I drove the Mako through the side of that little
I
narrow
was gonna
gap.
say it is memorable for the Mako glitch.
Yeah, that is the first. Like I've heard about the glitch, but that is the first time on my PC that I ever actually achieved it.
And you
All
can
the
still
time
do it
playing
in
on console,
Legendary
I never
Edition.
achieved it.
You can
But
still
there
do
was
it in Legendary Edition.
yeah,
They
which is
never
cool. I think they kept
I guess they knew it became a meme, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna leave that one in."
which I genuinely thank the devs for that because that was a very nice touch to keep that in because they're like, yeah, why not cut them some slack and just let them have their fun.
And I remember there's a GIF that or GIF, sorry, Nazo, that it's the Mako driving up to the to that little rock face, and then Tally asks, "Shouldn't we look for a side window?" And then the bottom text says, "Fuck you, I'm the Mako," and the Mako leaps over the rock face.
But yeah, like yeah, I enjoyed kind of like the action packedness of the mission, but yeah, like unless you can get that Mako through,
It's the second half of
the mission gets kind of sloggy.
it's
Roughly
basically
about the
the it's basically the second half of Calliston.
well, the mission gets kind of sloggy. Roughly around the time that the Geth armature drops, because you have a bunch of enemy reinforcements as well as that thing to deal with, and so
And you're fighting it on foot, which at that
yeah
point in the game you're
you
not really well equipped to do.
so yeah, unless you do the Mako trick, it's a real pain in the butt. And then
Even
you have to
Tally.
go in. You have to go in and find Liara, and you have to do the whole mining laser. And there's some tough battles there, but not too bad. But then you have to fight that Krogan in that narrow area.
We don't have time to deal with this idiot. Charge!
I love that. But in particular, like they tried really hard to make Therum because they knew they didn't have time to turn it into Calliston. They tried really hard to make it an obstacle for you, which is good. There should be some level of trial and difficulty, but dang if they didn't try hard.
This is why I'm
So
excited for the Calliston Restored mod. It's supposed to bring back the original idea.
I can't wait till that pops up. But yeah, like So
It's
what
still
about you, Solar?
it's on Nexus mods. It's still in alpha, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'll
But
look at it once it goes into beta, but I'm not gonna deal with anything potentially game breaking in an alpha state. Alpha state.
right. But so Solar, what were your thoughts on Therum?
So it's the planet where you find Liara, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish I had known about the Mako glitch. Sure.
Like I only knew about it because I think it was either my brother that showed me it or I watched it on YouTube or something. But somebody showed me it and they managed to get it through. And I tried multiple times on the console version to try and get that right, but I could never get it. It wasn't until I did the PC that I finally got it.
It should be useful if I ever get to do an insanity run.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
I
I
did an insanity run of the entire trilogy.
I don't have the. I'm sorry, but I don't have the cojones for that, nor the patience. But So yeah, next up is Theros.
The one with the mind controlling flower.
Yes, the Thorian.
I remember I wasted the non-lethal grenades thinking those ones would count.
Oh no, you wasted it on Thorian creepers, didn't you?
Yeah, full
Oh
melee
no.
for the
Oh
actual.
no.
I went full melee for the actual citizens and restarted to save everyone one every time one what got killed.
Dude, yeah, that's that. Like I had to figure out how to even attach the grenades. Like again, my first time when I played it, I was like, oh geez, like how do I not kill these people? And then it's like,
Go
oh,
to the
okay, so
inventory screen and I'm not.
there are these low gear grenades that I can throw at them, and that'll just knock them out. I have to be
And after
careful the
this,
way I
you
do
never
it
need those
too.
grenades again.
Yeah, you never. That's the interesting part. You never really need those grenades again after you take down the Thorian thralls. But yeah, there was like a bit of corporate espionage, like the whole existence of Thorian. Uh, who else? At least as far as like the first time, anyway, laughed at the Krogan having trouble with the VI.
Damn it.
It was
Tell me what
amusing.
you want, or I will blast your virtual ass into actual dust. Stupid machine.
Stupid machine.
And then it comes back in ME3. Stupid machine.
But yeah, like that was cool, and then a lot of the side characters, and then you get the there was Shiala, obviously, which when I originally played the game, I thought Shiala was going to be the Asari squad mate.
Same.
That would have been
I didn't
decent.
realize it was gonna be Liara, but I thought at first I took one look at Shiala and I'm like, huh. I'm like, oh, so she's probably gonna join your squad now. And no, she doesn't. I'm like, oh, I thought Nasari joined. I'm like, and then
That
you
would be
pick up.
interesting if she did, actually.
It would have been more interesting. Not that I'm saying Liara is a bad character, but like Shiala is like different. Like she's someone who's actually experienced indoctrination. It's just one of those side characters that like you wish was part of the squad, but it never happens. Another example is when we get to Vermile, we'll talk about that. But yeah, Pharaohs, even though I enjoy aspects of it, it's kind of a slog to get through. Because it's this weird kind of dust world that like everybody just seems to be comfortable with. And then you get there and you're like, okay, this is not like what do people like about this place? And then, like, when you get the unraveling of the giant plant that's controlling them, oh, now it all makes sense. Because normal people would have given up on a place like this. But yeah, so that's so. Any particular thoughts on Pharos in general? No. Okay then.
I once
Oh wait.
returned for the merchant, and I was a little taken by still hearing sounds of battle, even though things were already calmed down.
Yeah, that's just the general like background noises. It's meant to create atmosphere and put you on edge. Because even before the colonists start attacking you, um, there are people that like there. If you remember, there's like background blasts and creature noises occasionally on Pharos that you're just like, oh, what was that? What's going on over there? And then like you can't go over there because of like either a railing or an invisible wall. So, but yeah, that was primarily just for atmosphere solar.
I know
Okay. Oh, sorry.
that. I know that.
Yeah. But okay, so next world, Novaria. Thoughts?
As as in Revelation, Kaylee said she was assigned to a classified scientific project. I thought she was gonna show up there.
Yeah, that would have been the ideal place for it. Like, I know at the end of the book, she's like, I have like a classified project, but like that's not the same as like you think like maybe the Alliance was doing something shady on Novaria because Novaria is the place you go for like legal shady business because everybody does their stuff privately. You know, corporations. That's why they're so nervous when you show up as a Spectre. They're like, oh, the law's here. Great.
We're fucked.
Motherfucking, it's the fucking fuzz.
Well, it's not we're screwed. They're like, oh, so we can't we can't even continue our private unethical business uninterrupted. It's Novaria is basically the place where like the super rich and elite can like do whatever the heck they want experiment wise without like any sort of uh, legalization or oversight committees because they can bury those types of committees in like paperwork. What was it that what was it that the Parsini says like careful that the board can bury you in litigation. You can't just bludgeon your way through bureaucracy. I can bludgeon pretty hard. But yeah,
I will always
go ahead.
I will always wonder if I did the right thing by being the Rock Knight Queen.
Well, you'll get your answer as the games go on. Did you? I'm curious. Did you free her or did you execute her?
I freed her.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So and then you kind you kind of already got a clue of it from Shiala, but you got more of a clue from Benezia about indoctrination and kind of how that whole process works. And speaking of some mods, yeah, like Anihilus, you want to talk about the Hot Lab mod? This is weird. He's not talking. You still there, dude?
I'm here. Yeah, I can talk about the hot labs. So the hot labs restored mod. BioWare originally intended the Hot Labs to be more than just that one room. It was a whole different area that was actually accessible by the train that you first get into Rip Station on from Peak 15. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So when you deal with the Arachnite Queen, you actually in the mod you actually don't go to that elevator. You go back to the train, and then there's another button that takes you to the Hot Labs. And I don't know if you remember talking to Han Olar at all. That Volus.
Maybe.
He was like, I closed
I
the
killed
door,
her.
I killed her.
Yeah, the first thing you see is her decapitated body lying in a pool of blood on the ground right by the tram door.
Yummy.
I think I recall that. Yeah.
And then it's also just you actually do meet a few survivors there. Not only the Russian whose name I can't remember, but the Solurian Dr. Chiron, who
His name was Yaroslav Tatakovsky.
Yaroslav Tartakovsky, yes. We also meet the Solurian Dr. Chiron, who was the head researcher of the project, and he follows you around for a bit and then offs himself.
Yeah, that
He couldn't live with what he had done.
to me that was the most bizarre thing. He like literally like I got him to follow me a little bit into the hot labs, and then he goes, I forgot what he said, but he had like a smile on his
Told
face.
you.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, he said, "I told you," and then he pops himself in the head. I'm like, okay. I was when I saw that I was more confused by it than anything. But yeah, that Hot Labs mod.
I think he
Yeah.
was hallucinating at that point because he couldn't live with what he had done.
But yeah, that Hot Labs mod, even though like I enjoyed the exploration and the like the
And this
openness of it.
and the size of the new Hot Labs makes the run back to the tram a little more tense after you've set off the neutron purge.
Yeah,
Because
especially since it adds a timer.
yeah, well, no, the timer was always there in the original release. It's just you never really noticed it because you're just crossing the room back to the elevator, but you have to cross the entirety of the Hot Labs in the mod, so you're more aware of the timer.
Yeah, yeah, I was definitely more aware of the timer in that regard. But yeah, like as far as aesthetic goes, the mod like pretty much does what you hope it will. But of course, it did still suffer from some bugs that they didn't fix or patch yet.
Who knows? Maybe an N7 update clears that up, but we'll see.
I would hope so because I would love to play that without so many bugs because it did again it didn't ruin
Well,
the
if you're
experience, but it
looking to
did
play,
it.
well, if you're looking to play the Hot Labs without any bugs, I don't think you've got the right game.
Tell me about it. But
Get it? Get it?
yeah, Hot Labs without the bugs, yes. But yeah, like just that whole Peak 15 plot line, like I can't remember. I think it's the Renegade outline. You find out that Captain Ventralis actually works for Benezia.
Oh yes.
But typically, Ventralis is a pretty cool guy. And then, yeah, that as far as mods go with that particular one, yeah, like it's great as far as atmosphere, but it is a little buggy.
It made it more like it reminded me of Aliens.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, the whole Peak 15 had that vibe anyway, but it was nice to have something that was like, oh, that's it's in this dark, creepy source here.
You're also at ground zero, basically.
Yeah, where the whole experimentation and problem started. So yeah, Novaria, corporate, rigid, freezing, ice hole.
Ugh, don't want to live there.
No. So yeah, Next up is what I would consider the point of no return for the game,
Vermeer?
and that's Vermeer. Um, so yeah, Vermeer is significant for multiple reasons. Like, it has a good atmosphere. It's very watery, very green type of thing, but it's also where like um your choices matter, in my opinion, like the most in this game, because the culmination of everything just kind of hits here. So, does anybody have any particular thoughts, like favorite moments, particular scenes?
I take it there's no way to liberate the slaves.
No.
No.
Indoctrination, it's not like your typical mind control. They have seen into the depths of Lovecraftian horror, and there's no going back.
You had it to say.
Basically, they have become Dio's thralls.
Yeah, no, and you even encounter two officers that seem relatively normal. Like, one of them, you can tell he's been able to fight off the indoctrination. Um, at least for that.
I never really took it as him fighting off the indoctrination. I always thought, oh, they just didn't start on him yet.
Yeah, and then the other one, like, it's clear as day that the
The twitchy one.
indoctrination is like it's clear as day the indoctrination has messed with his head. You can see the
Let me out! Let me out! Let me out! That one?
Yeah, that one. I have to do what it says. Let me out. Let me out. But yeah, there was. But yeah, no. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I've been sitting in a weird position and my elbow really hurts. Just give me a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. But yeah, like Vermeer is where like most of the big choices. You get introduced to Captain Kirihee, who is another character I wish we could add to the squad.
The Solarian?
Yeah. He was actually a
Yeah.
pretty interesting character.
I found it odd that Mass Effect 1, you don't get a Solarian squad mate.
Oh. Actually, Mass Effect 2 is the only game in the series where you have a squad made from each of the council races.
Interesting, yeah.
I just really thought about that.
That is true. Yeah, you have a squad mate for each member of the council race.
Yes.
Of course, Megatron. But anywho, so a lot of the major choices happen in Vermeer. And even like a ton of the major events happen in Vermeer as well.
Yep.
There's the
And then the twist of the game, Sovereign is the one pulling the strings.
well, that's what I'm talking about, like the major moments, like as far as like the big, which, by the way, anybody who's watching this, I recommend not popping into this unless you want to be spoiled about the game and everything. By the way, for those watching, thank you for joining. I really should have put a spoiler warning, but whatever.
Well, Sovereign Boy, I'm afraid this is the end of the line, where you see, you've activated my trap card. Emergency reinforcements.
But yeah, like a lot of the big moments happen here in Vermeer. You have like Kirahi's hold the line speech. You have the showdown with Rex. You have the
Sovereign
decision. You have the
And
decision
then-
of which of your squad mates goes under Kirih's command, and which one you have to ultimately, unfortunately, leave behind.
They used to have a way in which you could
Padawan
save
says,
both of
"Hold the
them.
line," and spoiler warning.
BioWare used to have it so you'd be able to save both of them. That was cut fairly early on, but some voice files still exist in the game for that.
I'm thankful. I'm thankfully glad that they decided to keep the stakes of it,
Yeah.
because it would have lessened the game if you could have saved both.
Too much
Just
plot
in my
armor?
huh?
Too much plot armor?
Yeah, it would have made me start to feel like the characters had too much plot armor.
Well, we won't be feeling the effects of that one until ME3, cough cough.
Which, by the way, Solur, when you start ME2, I have some advice that you need to follow to a T if you don't want to lose anybody.
Oh dear.
But yeah,
All right.
the alternative being like you'll lose a lot of people otherwise.
No thanks.
Poor Caden has never seen past. Poor Caden has never seen past this point for me. That's a shame, Patty, because they're like you do get some alternate dialogue if you choose Caden over Ashley.
Caden is such a milquetoast character compared to Ashley. I said what I said. He's
I would
Karth,
agree.
but
I would agree in the first. I would agree in the first game, but in the third game, he's got a lot more to say as comparison to Ashley
he's
does.
he's still Karth, but boring in ME3.
Yes, so I do kind of
And
agree
I'm
with you
not
there.
just saying that because he's also voiced by Raphael Sabarge.
But anyway,
That doesn't help
you
matters.
have the big moments like you mentioned. For spoiler warning, once again, Sovereign is a Reaper, a living sentient, and he's got this whole mysterious rant of like I am the vanguard of your destruction nonsense. And then you have a showdown with Saren, which is basically what you've been waiting through most of the game for, only to find out he's not even the boss as far as a villain goes. He's a henchman, and again, this is what I was talking about when you take the Mass Effect Revelation novel into account, in which Saren seems less like the tyrant and more like the tyrant turned desperate hero, because he's trying to save the galaxy his way, even if there's no way his way would ever work. So yeah,
I am
go ahead.
trying. It's like I am trying to save you from the gold by insisting we all become Jaffa.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a decent Stargate analogy for those who have seen the show. But so, like, did anybody have any like big moments, like the explosion, which character you left behind, that like really kind of impacted you on that mission?
I will always wonder if I made the right choice.
Who did you end up leaving behind? Just so I know.
Ashley,
That's a tough call, dude. And that's part of the enjoyment of the game, is wondering if you made the right choice.
And then in a different playthrough, you can do it the other way around and see what you missed.
Oh, I know, but keep in mind this is his first playthrough, so
Yes.
this decision has obviously affected him.
I mean, I guess I do like approaching games from a standpoint of replayability. I never understand people who play a game once and that's it. Their brain just doesn't allow them to go back to it ever again. It's weird to me.
it's bizarre. The beautiful thing about Mass Effect is that you can always pop in again and try something different. There's like a ton of variety of choices that you can make in these games, and a ton of variety in because you've got different gameplay styles, different dialogue styles, different romance options. The first game only has 2 romance options for the male shepherd and 2 for the female shepherd. You can just do what I do, which is skip them until the next game, or you can indulge in whatever like romance. So the romances in 1 were pretty much for the male commander Shepard were Caden and not Caden, but Ashley and Liara, and then for the female Shepard it was Caden and Liara. But yeah, like basically the Vermeer one was the point of no return because the plot completely changes after that point. Because you thought you're thinking entirely, oh, it's one thing, and then you realize, oh, it's actually something else, something far worse, and you're like, oh boy. So, any final thoughts about Vermeer before we move on to anything? Yay, nay.
No further thoughts.
All right. So we'll move on to Ilos, and I know we already kind of got the whole Vermeer thing, Vigil theme vibe, but what were your thoughts on Ilos?
I was full of wonder. Like when I saw the statues, it's like so that's what a Prothean looked like. Are they statues? Are they mummified Protheans? And then the whole mystery around it with all the sarcophagi.
Yeah.
It was quite, so to speak.
And you'll note that they keep any holograms, of the Protheans purposely way too damaged to see because they wanted to keep that mystery going. They wanted to make you ask, because again, one of the things Liara seems to imply is that the galaxy is built on these cycles, and the Reapers are wiping everybody out every 50,000 years, and you wonder, like the important question is like, were those Protheans or were those an older cycle? That's obviously the question. Like, how old were a lot of these alien races before they got wiped out by the machines?
It's like who came before the Protheans and who came before them and so on.
Yeah, very much. And even Vigil kind of says, like, in the end, when you're trying to discover Reaper origins, like, what does it matter? Your survival depends on stopping them, not understanding them. Wait, hang on a second. Someone said this. Wait, this is his first time playthrough. Did he make the Ashley mistake? Yes, Patty. He killed Ashley instead of Caden. But yeah.
Caden is
Uh,
such a boring milquetoast. Karth. He is Karth
you're
and
you're gonna get some flack for that. There's probably somebody here who's like a Caden romancer gonna watch this and like just develop some sort of like predestined or predetermined hate for you because of that.
Here's the thing. I saved Caden. I did Caden's romance once. I think Caden is an okay character, but at the end of the day, he is Karth Onassi with the one thing that made Karth actually interesting and justified stripped completely away.
Ah, I see what you mean. But
At least Karth had a reason to not trust people.
The fact of the matter is, Caden is more of like a fully developed character, so there's not really too much room for his character to grow. I mean, there's a little bit, but not nearly enough.
That's kind of the problem.
Yeah. Like, Ashley kind of has more room to grow, just a little bit. But, yeah, as far as Vermeer, yeah, the atmosphere is fantastic because it's this ancient, almost otherworldly jungle and, ruined temples.
Ilos?
Yeah. Oh, not that mistake one where you talk to her too much. But since he offed her, there's nothing to worry about. Oh, I know which one he's talking about now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ashley is a good romance. Fight me.
Well, it's not that Ashley's a bad romance. It's just if you aren't like super rude to her, you can kind of get locked in on her romance when you didn't want to.
It's the same thing with all the romances in ME1. You have to know what you're doing.
No, because you can still turn Liara down and still sound nice. With Ashley, you literally gotta put your foot down and be rude to her before she'll get the memo. Yeah, he's not into you. Like this is to me that's hilarious. But uh, I understand because I've been railroaded into Ashley, and I actually had to kill her so I wouldn't romance her. But yeah, it's rough. But yeah, like just Ilos's atmosphere was very good. Its design was interesting, and it was like pretty much like you knew you were at the end game when you got to Ilos. Any other thoughts?
So, are those things statues or petrified Protheans or some other race? Or
Well, I'm not going to spoil that for you. You got to play the games. Sorry.
all right,
You do get an answer. Probably not until Mass Effect 3 though.
all right.
Yeah. What about you, Anihilus? Any thoughts on Ilos? No? Okay then. So we'll move on to the big event, which is the Battle of the Citadel.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, I can hear you now.
I said the Geth armature placement was kind of bullshit, but
Yeah.
um, I liked the revelations that
Oh, that
Vigil
fucking
brought.
part.
And then it was a good shot, good straight shot into the finale on the Citadel, and just oh man, the fact that you fight like you're fighting on the superstructure of the Citadel itself, that was amazing.
Patty says, I like Ashley or I love Ashley by the way. Darth, I think she gets way too much hate.
Yeah,
That's
she
funny
did.
coming from a huge romancer of Liara, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm starting to get sleepy.
yeah, I hear you. But
I am sad.
Patty's
Joy is here.
yeah, it's kind of weird. I thought she'd be here. I'm a little disappointed.
Is
Uh,
she stream shy?
I have zero clue. I sent her another link in case that was the problem, but uh, still nothing. Anyway, so uh, yeah, the Battle of the Citadel, the big battle, and I know you've talked about this before, but they had like a mod that added Ambassador or Executor Palin back in so that he dies on one of the ships. So I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but that's pretty much he has to survive, or otherwise it contradicts that one Mass Effect comic. Uh, I
Now
never understood people. Yeah,
I headcanon that they're both true. Hallen was on the ship and then he escapes before the Sovereign collides with it. But because of that, he technically fled the battle while the rest of his compatriots died. So he lost his general status and was just shamed and condemned to be just in his current position on the Citadel with no possibility of any kind of promotion. And that resentment led him to the events of that one Mass Effect comic.
Yeah, where he's just like, well, he felt the need
Don't spoil
to.
it.
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but he felt the need to do something that unfortunately costs him his life. I won't say exactly what, uh, but yeah. As far as the Battle of the Citadel goes, I still think it's one of the best battles. Like as far as finales goes, it's for me. It's still not as good as the finale to Mass Effect 2, but it is a fantastic finale.
By the way, Solur in our Discord server.
Solur is not in our Discord server, but we can easily add him if need be.
Get on that.
All right, I'll send him an invite later. But
I'll be joining afterwards.
all right, but yeah, like the Battle of the Citadel, final showdown with Saren, final final battles with Geth, running up the side of the Citadel Tower, just shows you like the epic scale of this game. Especially like again, this is early 2000s game that got re-released, and so people are experiencing the epic scale of that final battle of the Citadel and just how much can be lost there. Because huge choices pretty much happen. One of the most interesting choices I always thought was cool was that you can literally convince Saren to off himself.
That's what I did.
Yeah, whether you do Renegade or Paragon, if you have enough experience, if you've talked to Saren enough, like made him question his beliefs in the Reapers, instead of fighting him, he'll just pop himself, and you'll get the experience from the fight, which is cool. And then, of course, he gets possessed by Sovereign, and you also get that really final heavy choice of, well, it's kind of an easy choice depending on which you prefer. The saving the council or leaving them to die, so that the fleet you send in focuses on Sovereign. So, thoughts on the Battle of the Citadel, gentlemen?
Again, the scale was great. Holding onto my seat the whole time. Like how the hell are we gonna fucking stop the Sovereign? It's already there.
Well, the goal is stopping
Was that
one
tension?
Reaper. The goal is stopping one Reaper, but once he opens the Citadel relay, the rest will pour in. So that's the real goal, is to stop him from, because you're really only delaying the inevitable.
Great
And-
story resolution, kind of a gameplay resolution.
I don't know. I enjoyed it just for the scale and the look of it as well.
Right?
I
No,
was
I
fine with
said
it.
great story resolution, but from a pure gameplay standpoint, the final boss fight against the possessed Saren was kind of
Well, it was basically the Geth
Geth Hopper
ghosts
on
and
a Geth Hopper
hoppers, sappers,
with a giant health bar.
which made sense.
Speaking of
There was a
Saren,
mod. I never got a chance to find out about it or install it, but you can actually have a final dialogue with Sovereign before you fight him when he's
It was
possessed Saren.
interesting, but I understand why BioWare cut it. I feel like it screwed with the pacing a little bit.
Well, it's not just the pacing. It's like you already kind of had the grand scale.
And it's like you don't really gain anything new from that conversation that you didn't already know before.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a bit
literally
redundant.
just Sovereign insulting you and your intelligence again. So
And then it's basically Sovereign says, "I have won," and then Shepard going, "Fuck you."
I have won. Nuh-uh.
Basically.
Speaking
But
of
yeah,
Saren
yeah, go ahead.
speaking of Saren and mods, you mentioned that there's one where Saren has a progression in how he looks like.
Oh
Like
yeah, that is the
Saren stages.
yeah, the Saren stages mod. Now there's two options. When you first meet Saren, he kind of in option one, when you first meet Saren, he kind of looks like uh how he does in his original concept art, where he's like in this weird black robe. Uh and I have it right here in the art book. Let me see if I can give me 2 seconds here, gentlemen. So put the camera to 0. And well, turn it on right. Oh no, that was not. I said to 0. But yeah, this is where he's like in this kind of like robed look, and you can even see like some of the initial phases of it here. Uh, Sorry for the lighting, but Saren had this like so that's the human side of it. But Saren had this sort of like initial like walking stick kind of early stages before they got to the official design. But yeah, in the Saren stages mod, uh, one of the first options is you can have him in that black robe. But I personally chose to keep him in the armor. It's pretty much the same armor that's on the cover of Mass Effect Revelation. Uh,
that's a nice
in
detail.
which in which, and they gave him the one detail that was kind of off was that he had like kind of yellow eyes, like yellow Turian eyes. It wasn't too bad of like a continuity error or anything, so I didn't see much problem. But when you see him on Vermeer, he has the blue cybernetic eyes, and then it's not until the Battle of the Citadel that he has the Geth arm that you typically see him in the base game. The implication is that because he didn't get implanted by Sovereign until the end of the game, there's no reason for him to have like a robot arm and a bunch of tubes in his head and his body. And that is a mod, by the way, I would highly recommend, which is Saren Stages. But yeah, as
Right.
far as the sorry, go ahead.
So the diversification and Saren stages are like the go-to.
Yeah, definitely Saren Stages.
Yes. And then there's a companion piece to the diversification mod, which you do need to get it working, called Advanced Weapon Models. It gives the
Yeah,
weapons
definitely
a bit
download
more
that.
variety in their look, and you also see a lot of models which you see throughout the rest of the games as well.
And I didn't touch on these yet because we were talking about the main game plot. But yeah. So, any final thoughts on the Battle of the Citadel?
Not really.
Yeah, other than it's just a grand scale level. But there's also the one thing I wanted to touch on was the DLCs. We're gonna skip talking about Pinnacle Station because that's just gonna frustrate the crap out of Anihilus. But we will talk about Bring Down the
Fuck off,
Sky.
Ahern.
We will talk about Bring Down the Sky, which Bring Down the Sky definitely lives up to its title. Again, like when BioWare was initially selling Bring Down the Sky, what was it like a buck 50 when it was released?
Something like that.
Yeah. Eventually, they stopped selling it and literally just put it built into physical copies of Mass Effect on the disc. Like you could go to like any GameStop back in the day, pick up like a Platinum Hits copy of like Mass Effect 1, and then when you eventually go deeper into the game, go into the galaxy map, suddenly there's an extra mission called Bring Down the Sky. They literally just put the DLC on the disc because they're like, we're barely making any money from this, so let's just build it into the game like we originally intended. which is very cool of BioWare in my opinion. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, Bring Down the Sky is like an extra mission. And the version that I played lately was the one that Anihilus recommended, which kind of gave you like you literally have an hour. They mention you have an hour in Bring Down the Sky, but there's no real urgency or time. The Bring Down the Sky in the PC modded version literally gives you a timer of like an hour long before the asteroid crashes into the planet Terra Nova. So I kind of felt the urgency, and I kind of rushed to get to those torches to shut them down.
Yeah. Yeah, and then see, I have that mod, diversification mod, the community patch, a couple of mods to just give Shepard more hairstyles because the base game hairstyles, they're not bad. You just kind of get tired of seeing them after a while, and I wanted some variety.
Like the Halcyon mod,
Yeah, and then Hut Lab restored.
the scale and tension of the battle are great. Yeah, Patty, they really are. But yeah, Bring Down the Sky was like one of those DLCs that was really meant to show that your choices mattered. Because you have to decide between letting a Batarian go so you can save his hostages, or killing him but losing all the lives of those innocent hostages.
And the decision comes back in ME3.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't bite back the way you might think, but the choice you made does affect what happens in Mass Effect 3, and that's the one thing that this trilogy of games has above most. Is that every decision you make rolls over into the next game. Like most of the minor decisions you make, you'll get an email saying, thank you for helping me with this, 2 years ago. So, but in a lot of instances, a lot of your choices that you made, like very minor choices that you made, come back in some scale in some way in the second and third game, which is again pretty much the appeal of this series. Is like your choices are supposed to matter. I'm not going to discuss the endings of the third game because that's just gonna that's a story for another time. Uh, but yeah, basically, Bring Down the Sky was, I would say, an enjoyable. I wouldn't say it's as good as some of the main game's plot lines, or even gameplay, but it's very fun and very enjoyable. And like I said, I'm not gonna talk about Pinnacle Station because that's just frustrating. Uh, but was there any one question I did want to ask Solur is who did you end up romancing, if at all?
Liara.
Oh,
She
yeah, that's
seems
gonna make
more.
Pat. Yeah, but
Something about it made more sense, and the comic Ascension kind of makes more sense when Liara is your romance because she's so desperate to bring Shepard back.
oh, you mean the Redemption comic? Yeah.
I guess I
Did I
just
say
don't like
Ascension?
how much BioWare shoves her down your throat.
Yeah, see, Padawan's happy. That a boy.
Yeah, Redemption. That's what I meant.
Yeah, no, I get you. But yeah, Anihilus, he doesn't hate Liara, but at the same time, he's because Bioware
I
has
don't
this
like.
weird.
I don't
Bioware
like how
has this.
BioWare shoves her down your throat because it's like they're saying if you're not playing it this exact way, you're doing it wrong, and your way of doing it is ultimately invalid. And I'm like, no, fuck you.
But But yeah, BioWare kind of has this thing when it comes to Liara. They want her to be the de facto love interest.
Waifu.
A
Yeah,
sorry
of the
fetish.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but basically with Liara, like Liara is a fine character. She's not a bad
Agreed.
character. It's just I do see Annihilus's point where it's like, yeah, stop shoving this character in our face. We like this character. Please stop shoving the
Like,
character in our
like
face.
I want to like her on her own merits, but it feels like Bioware is saying, no, you will like her because we say so.
I mean, she's pretty much been like the flagship character that they were advertising for the next Mass Effect game. It's very much implied through like trailers and teasers and whatnot that they've been
Yeah.
implying that she's going to have a significant role. Considering Asari lived for hundreds of years, it makes sense.
So do Krogan, but they don't seem to give a rat's ass about Rex.
Yeah, and to me that's a little disappointing. But anyway, so was there any particular choices in your playthroughs that like really stuck out to you?
When the Batarian to kill the hostages and bring down the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh shit. I didn't want that.
So what did you end up doing? Did you end up letting him go, or did you end up killing him?
I think I didn't let him go, but with intimidation.
So you basically said, like, yeah, you can go, but I will eventually hunt you down.
Basically.
Which makes sense. That sounds very much like a Commander Shepard level threat. It's like, yeah, for what you did, I'm not going to forget this. If I see you in human territory again, you're a dead man. Uh, the usual rhetoric. You're going to find, by the way, Solur, that there's kind of this joke in the fandom that because of the way Batarians are as like a culture, like they are, it is a joke, but they're basically universally hated by the rest of the community.
Karsan will burn, and may my ship blow up this evening if someone proves me wrong. Anyway, what was your question? Something about Reapers?
Yeah, he'll see when he gets to Mass Effect 2 and the a particular DLC we'll discuss when we do the next stream. But does anybody have any like final thoughts or anything that they want to share? Experience from the first game.
A good beginning to a great series, and that encompasses everything except for Mass Effect Deception.
Oh my gosh, I still have to review that for the first time. I'm not looking forward to it.
It's not canon. BioWare disowned it.
It's
I
the book written by William C. Dietz that you told me about the day.
Yes.
Yeah, I still, because it is Mass Effect, I still have to look at it and review it, and I'm gonna try to make that, like, if it ends up sucking, I'm gonna try to make that a comical review as best I can.
You must cosplay as Khaleesi Bitsine and Al Jalani.
I ain't got the hips for that.
Very
So
well
yeah,
then,
like,
we shall compromise. You must cosplay as not Rex.
I wish I had the hips for that, but no. So yeah, after today, I got to start working on season 2 of my Mass Effect chronology series, which I hope to see people there. But yeah, like basically, this game is great. It's not my favorite of the trilogy, but it's still pretty darn great.
Out of all the games I played during my Insanity run, it was the least painful.
My guess is 3 was the most painful.
No, 2.
Really? Okay,
You
then.
don't remember me raging during the collectorship? That was
I
the
do remember it.
absolute.
Yeah, actually,
That was,
sorry, it just
that
came to
was
me. I'm
the
like, oh yeah, he was very angry.
that was the absolute worst it got. Even Grissom Academy was easier than that.
That's shocking, considering Grissom Academy is like the killing field for most fans.
Well, it's not even the entirety of Grissom Academy. It's just that one bit in the atrium.
Yeah, like I said, for anybody who hasn't, there's a YouTube channel called Prime Radiancy that does U.S. presidents playing Mass Effect, and it's a joy to watch. But yeah,
I felt vindicated watching that because oh my god, I'm not crazy.
no, you're not. The insanity gameplay in that series is, in particular with 2, is pretty rough from time to time.
I'm not even talking about Insanity. I had trouble with Grissom Academy I have trouble with that part of Grissom Academy during every single playthrough at least once.
Oh yeah. So, any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we close it out tonight?
So everyone's space racist against Batarians.
Yes.
Disgusting spider-eyed freaks.
Disgusting Xeno scum.
I would be much more interested if there was like some sort of furry equivalent aliens.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can we not right now? I am very tired.
All right.
Just joking, though.
Yeah. No, we're gonna end it here. But for anybody catching the replay or joined us tonight, thank you so much. There was supposed to be someone else who joined us, but I don't know what happened. I'll have to ask her about what happened, what's going on. All
I
right.
hope she's still alive.
I think she is. She probably just fell asleep and lost track of time. All
That's
right,
okay.
but thanks again, guys. Thanks again for joining. Anybody who popped into the comments, thank you for that.
Yes. Now invite Solur to the Discord server.
I absolutely will. All right, I'll see y'all next time.
A
Good night,
pleasure
y'all.
to meet you guys.